Hi everyone, my name is Vanessa van Dijk, and in today's video I want to talk about the increasing difficulty of creating helpful content. Because the problem I am facing is how content is filtered and pushed online through AI and bureaucratic laws. Some things get promoted and other things get buried almost instantly. And that forces you as a creator to follow a certain narrative, because it's obvious that the things being promoted all follow that same narrative, which more and more feels like it's being built into the system to shape what people see and think. And more often than not, that narrative doesn't actually help solve your problem. It just keeps you in a constant loop, so you never figure out how it really works. Now, over the past couple of years, things have become increasingly clear to me when it comes to general health. Acne was just the starting point for me. But as I kept looking into it, I started noticing the same patterns across other skin issues and health problems as well. And even saying this already goes against what is commonly accepted. Because if you look at the science, these things are usually presented as having many different causes and triggers. But I honestly don't think that for most of what we are facing is that complicated. It's a problem of the way we live and the food we consume. And the thing is, it only seems complicated in the science because it has created a loop and we are essentially stuck in a certain narrative. And that makes it very difficult to step outside of it because it is something we've been taught for years and years. So instead of questioning it, most of us just stay within it. And that's exactly where things become difficult. Because even talking about this kind of perspective will get content pushed down, which becomes a serious issue when you're a creator. And it's not because what is being shared is wrong, but because it doesn't align with what is currently being promoted. So the market you are watching is essentially just a narrative that people are being fed. And then the media and creators jump on it, create content around it, and then move on to the next one. And I'm sure many of you have already noticed that it works like that. But the problem is that this naturally leads to more and more content becoming product focused. And that's not always because creators want it to be that way, but because otherwise their content simply won't reach anyone in a system that is almost entirely driven by consumption. Because if you actually speak about how things might really work, it leads to less consumption. And that is something the system simply does not reward. So instead you end up with more and more content that keeps you in the same cycle. And the problem is that even when I talk about it, you might not even see it because it gets pushed down or filtered out. And even if you do see it, you might not question it because you've been taught to rely on fake solutions and simply accept things as they are. So you never even consider that it could be different. And that's honestly where I find myself right now. It's becoming increasingly difficult to create content that is truly helpful because it simply doesn't get shown anymore. And that's something I find very concerning. Anyway, I leave it right there, and I hope that I could give you something to think about. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!